Hey, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I don't know why I'm doing this. Alright, so first let me say that I am petrified of needles. Like, that is no joke, alright? I have a tattoo already, and it was such a mission to get, alright? Now, having said that, I'm issuing a tattoo challenge. Now, a lot of you might be wondering, what is that? Well, there's a link in the description below. Please go check it out. It's called the Tattoo Challenge. In a nutshell, if you guys can get me to 5,000k subscribers before the 16th of August, I'm gonna get a tattoo chosen by you guys. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I decided to do this. Having said that, enjoy the show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to... Funny you should say that. Got it this time. All right, so as you can see, there's a bit of a bigger panel. Internet seems stable, guys. So far, so good. We have Rowan Clegg, who is our guest on the panel today, and then you're familiar with Peter, Vanner, and Mikhail in the far corner there. Oba King might be joining us a bit later. He's in the middle of training, apparently, so he'll be joining us a bit later. But
I don't think he deserves it. If he can't, skip training to be on this very important discussion, I personally feel offended.
Yes,
they're working on his biceps.
All right.
So there's a lot of work to do there. There's a lot of work to do, right?
Robin Dandelion is in the chat saying hello,
boxing,
everyone.
You focus more on your triceps.
Nobody listened to that.
Oh, he said, it's for the jabs. Okay, fair enough.
Robin says hi to everyone.
Hi, Robin.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and boys. Rowan last week made some comments on our show, which got us talking. Now, he thinks that this isn't an important topic, but I beg to differ. And I thought it would be good to have a panel of comedians talking about this issue, because it is an issue that is spoken about, whether it is behind the curtain or even in front of the curtain, or in our certain groups that we mingle with on the comedy circuit. So, Rowan, you made a comment saying, have some self-respect, guys, or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, that was like the last thing I said, though. After Oberking got mad, and then I was like, I'm going to get mad too. Fuck that. Have some self-respect.
Well, yeah. Explain to the audience. So this is what's going to happen. We're going to let Rowan Clegg talk. You can say as much as you want. And then we, one by one, will rebuttal. And maybe we'll come to some mutual agreement. Maybe we won't. We'll see. But that's the point of this conversation. Let's see if anybody can learn anything. All right. So Rowan, the floor is yours.
I didn't know we were going to do this like some sort of model UN, but okay. So I don't know. My only okay, that's fair. My only point was because stand-up is a live art. I'm not talking about comedy in general. Comedy can exist online. My point was that stand-up itself cannot exist online because it's not really performing. You're not really like growing as a performer in any way. All you're really doing is having like a supervised rehearsal of your set. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the time when you're doing comedy, it's those in-the-moment things that actually make your set work. A lot of the time. And that relies on the audience, the mood, how drunk everybody is, whatever's happening that night. Like a lot of my favorite sets have been the ones that I've just done crowd work only. Because I think it was last year sometime, I forced myself to do crowd work for a month. I would keep one joke in the pocket just in case I lost them. But for the most time, I was just like, hey, where do you work? Who you fucking? You know, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And that
classic, who you fucking?
Maybe, yeah.
Who you fucking? It's just your average kind of joke. How do you? Honestly, no, wait. I would like to know what is the how does your average audience member, kind of go like, her, or like him? Where does that joke go? Just out of interest. That's.
I don't know. I've actually never done that online because I've never done that live.
Because like, who are you fucking?
I don't know, but I had.
I think that's the whole point.
Yeah. To be fair, most of us here are fucking our hands, are we not?
I'm married, dude. I'm happily married.
So yes.
No. I have a very, very loving wife. Trust me.
Okay. I like how you said that loud enough so she can hear you in the other room.
Yeah,
No,
no, she just
nobody.
knocked on the door and asked me to go, but I have
Joe's busy throwing hints there.
Look. I mean, there's a certain song that says, if you ever meet a man that says he doesn't masturbate, he's a liar, and a fool if he says that he does. You know. So it's one of the.
I know that. So that's Vorsi first, sir. I remember.
There's actually some. Now there's some Australian, like this is
Okay.
old, it's like 70s
Well, I'm gonna
kind of
stop
shit.
you there.
Okay,
Bennett.
Rowan, back to you.
Bennett, I'm gonna stop you
Oh
there.
no, that was
Let's
just it.
let's
Dude. Like,
get back to
I'm just a
Rowan's-
maybe I'm a maybe I'm
Rowan's
just a
thing.
stand-up purist, man. And
I was
like,
about to say.
like maybe that's just it. I'm the asshole, and that's fair. But like, what are you really gaining out of Instagram Live? You know what I mean? Like, is NBC finally going to call you up and give you that sitcom you've been writing? You know, is Netflix going to come guy and go like, hey man, I saw you on that IG Live. You killed in that IG Live, dog. Like it's I don't know. I don't see it as a benefit to the idea, or if you're going to call stand-up an art, I don't see it as a benefit to the art at all. Because you're also, at the end of the day, you're also incentivizing audience members to like just record your set and live stream it for you, because you're doing it at home anyway. You know what I mean? And a lot of the time you're trying to work out material at an open mic and you don't know where it's going to go. You thought of a setup and you're like, maybe I'll find it in the moment. And you don't, and it goes wrong. And you don't want that out there for everybody to just, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Thoughts,
I think
guys?
I think you got a point there, dude. I do think I'm catching the arse end of this conversation, so I'm just picking up a bit of stone piece here. But bit of comedy purism isn't terrible. But my question to you then is, do you reckon within the genre stand-up, is there room for this kind of thing? Because this whole situation we're having here as a species.
For sure. This can exist, and stand-up can exist. I mean, TikTok exists, dude. That's just people lip syncing to popular songs. Like anything, the internet's for an infinite amount of things. Like doing it is not wrong, but me being against it is also not wrong, I feel.
Fair enough. How do you feel? Maybe you've already explained it. In what way does it damage stand-up? The traditional stand-up. Does it take away from, say, the pure stand-up? If so, in what way?
I think it damages the performer more than it damages stand-up itself. You know what I mean? You're not getting real feedback on your material. You're getting laughing. You're getting laughing emojis, and the host is the only guy laughing. But the host is always laughing because he has to make you look good. You know what I mean? The guy who's hosting exactly.
Joe never does that. Joe, please stop that. That's a bit weird. That Joe, honestly, don't ever do that again. Would you ever do that? That is scary. That is actually quite scary.
We simply just spoke about weed before the show, and that's how he's already acting. I don't know what happens when he actually does take a hit. That's scaring.
He's high off that pizza he ate.
What was on that? Pepperoni and what?
Garlic.
I'm with you there, Rowan. So my other question is now, don't you think that having performing live in the streaming manner, don't you think that can, in some more ways than one, improve one's stand-up comedy or one's performance?
Yeah, in the sense that it improves your general interaction with people, sure. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, isn't like stand-up just you like sharing your thoughts? It's like, hey, guys, I have some ideas. Like, maybe you'll find them funny. That's kind of what I try and do anyway. And then it hardly works out.
Okay.
But anyway.
So I've got a few things that I've got to challenge you on.
Sure.
You said the whole argument of you just put out content and people can stream it for you and blah 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 blah. Well, there's a very interesting debate to that, and this would go even without the lockdown, the effects of the lockdown. Let's talk about stand-up comedy, putting your material out online. there seems to be a misconception with comedians that, and I'm not speaking for all comedians, just by the way, I'm just saying that some people think this way, that I can't put my material on YouTube, I can't put my material on Facebook, I can't put my material here or there, even if it's footage of them at a live show, because they're worried that other comics are going to steal it. And while that is, yes, a possibility, here's something I would like to I would like to argue with that thought or that train of thought, Rowan, and it kind of goes with the whole what's the point of you going on IG or going on here or going on there? Well, one, you remain relative, or at least you remain in the spotlight somehow. Two, you're putting your comedy in your audience's house, and three, comedy as a stand-up comedian. Your product is your jokes, your comedy. If you're not putting your product out there, how do you expect to grow in following, to become more well known, all that stuff?
Look, I've put up clips of myself doing stand-up. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with somebody else doing it, because then I have no control of where that material goes and how it's marketed. You know what I mean? Like, somebody can be like, hey, this is just steal identity and jokes at the same time, because why not? We live in a fucked up world, guys, like that.
you have a problem with someone taking your footage and sharing it. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Personally, yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of rude.
What if they share it, though? What if someone shares your material and says, oh, this guy's so funny?
Because they go, this guy is so funny. They don't go, come to me afterwards and be like, hey, I recorded you. You were funny. What's your name? I can tag you. They just, this guy's so funny. Who is this guy? I don't exist. I'm just I'm just another fat white guy with long hair. We exist in the millions.
Okay, so the problem is crediting you. Like if they at least I can level with you on that. I can definitely level with you on that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I have had my material on YouTube for quite a while. I've been sharing my material and promoting it with money on Facebook for quite a while. It's gotten me a lot of followers, and I'm not trying to brag, but my point is, I have yet to see anyone take my footage and share it or anything like that. And to be honest, even if they did, don't you think it's up to the artist to make sure that in that footage, you can watermark the shit out of that? You can say Joe Emilio, like that's what I did. Even if someone was to crop or
if
do
you're
whatever,
recording it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like
if you're recording it, yeah, I've put out stuff that I've had friends record me. You know what I mean? Like, I get that.
Okay,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah, like
I see you're talking. I think you guys are misunderstanding each other a little bit. You're talking about Joe. You're talking about self-produced stuff being put out there for the fans, right? Watermarked and everything, right?
I have zero problem with that. That's perfect.
And Rowan is saying if someone else records your set and puts it out of your control, I think that's what he's saying. Kind of with him that much.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Takes
fair
his stuff, produces their own stuff.
All right.
Based on yours.
Now, when we bring it to the current situation, right? Now that we've dealt with that part, I just want to understand your views on that. If we bring it now to the lockdown, and you saying how is you doing a live show going to benefit you in the long run or whatever, and you mentioned like it's not like Netflix is going to come to you. Well, I'm not going to say that Netflix is going to come to you, but if you look like Mario, you look at Pius, you look at Robin, you look at all these guys that have been doing the live streams for a very long time now, since the beginning of the lockdown, they're getting international opportunities. Yes, it's live, and it's not the most ideal situation, but their names are getting out there. They're getting into audiences in other houses across the world that was never possible before. So, I mean, in that regard, it's kind of the same as Netflix. And that brings me back to the point of if you just stay in your little house and you don't produce any content, and specifically if you don't want to produce stand-up comedy, I can kind of understand that. But at the same time, if you're not doing the live streams and stuff like that, you're not remaining relevant, you're not remaining in the public eye, you're not going to grow. There's
but I mean, like,
what
is the point of remaining in the public eye if you look at the way things are going? Like, are you going to do your set through a megaphone on top of your Mad Max bus. Like, what the fuck? You know, like that's not, maybe. You know what? I just convinced myself. I just
Comedy
convinced
show on Mad
myself
Max Bus.
that stand-up
think
can
you're
only
giving
exist
Vanny-
online.
Well,
Rowan, let me push back on that last one. You just for a few seconds, Rowan. I think here's the benefit. Look, you said it yourself. This is like a whole new freaking thing that we're in now. Like stand-up comedy for the past 6 months globally, pretty much shut down, right?
Dead.
So yeah, nobody was working. It doesn't matter whether you were earning millions before or open mic, nobody was working. So now this is a whole new thing. I think because it's new, experimentation is going to be like a big advantage. And also the other thing is that I think wherever funny can exist, it should. And the beauty about doing stand-up comedy or comedy in general is that it's simply ideas and being funny in a space. You can always carve up your stand-up into, okay, this type of material, I'm gonna just do this in the streams. This is my shit in the streams. If I'm live in front of an audience, okay, I've got a whole gang of material just for that. I think there's room here to like really. I think it's less zero sum and it's more fractal. You gotta just look inward into the creativity, and then I think that's kind of where it is. It's not a limiting factor. I don't think.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's kind of how, and because you've exposed this alternative dimension of your own comedic creativity, people can then look at this and go, oh, I can see this person working. I can see myself working with this person more so online and streaming than on stage, when we more often than not perform to the same fucking 10 people in this damn fucking city. Streaming, I can perform, and then a Canadian can freaking see my shit. There you go. I think
that
there's
is super
ways
beneficial, being exposed to international audiences. I agree, but these connections that you're making aren't really tangible. They're Instagram followers.
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh.
like these other comedians you're meeting are just more Instagram followers. Like they're not gonna give you a couch to crash on if you're ever there.
But
I
Maybe if
disagree.
they're a
I
really
disagree.
nice person.
I disagree.
If they were a
I
really
disagree.
nice person.
I disagree because
Look at it
it
this
is
way.
known. It is known for any traveling comedian knows this. If I met a guy from I think it was Pennsylvania comedian. Who remembers Griff Pippin when he was here? Ginger guy. He's here a few years ago.
Yeah.
And
I don't remember Gingers.
And then there was also what's his name? Oh, anyway, another comedian from New York that was here last year. I met these guys, and I've been chatting to them on social media. I know that if I go to the States and I need a place to stay, Griff will put me up. I know that if I need a place to stay, the other guy will put me up. I know that the comics that we are meeting online and through these live chats, and if we communicate afterwards, that they would give us a place to stay and they would connect us with other people.
if you actively like keep that relationship.
Yes, okay, fine, fair enough. Yes, it's up to the comic
But
to
like
do that.
for most of this, it's like, hey, I'll follow you, you follow me, come on my show, we'll do jokes, and then that's it. That's about as far as it goes. You know, you're not like making a real
Then that
friendship.
is a lazy
there.
comedian then.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
the laziest
what
one.
I'm trying to say.
I did one sketch this whole time. In all this time, I wrote a few sketches, but I filmed one because it was the funniest one that I had.
Okay, but you can't
And
be
then-
a lazy comedian and then criticize those that are trying to do something for the better of the comedy industry and also trying to make a name for themselves and also trying to keep
I'm
relevant.
not
and-
criticizing the hustle. I'm just saying that like doing it is for me personally, I don't see it
Fruitless.
as being
Yeah,
it's
it's
fruitless, dude. It's like
Pointless.
it's
Fruitless. Like there's
I
no
would
why
just
waste
feel-
energy. I get that.
dude,
yeah.
if I was sitting in my room doing my material, I would feel so dumb because most of my material, I'm not this animated on stage. I'm just deadpan. It relies on the words,
That's true.
you know. So I would just feel so stupid, dude, just going blah 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 blah. Like So, like, I can't.
That's exactly how you deliver your material too. That's awesome.
100%, dude. Go look at the clips online.
Yourself.
All right. Let's give a few moments for Venner and Mikal. So we'll go with Venner, then Mikal. By the way, I just want to put this out there. People in the comments are excited to hear what Mikal has to say.
Sure. Yeah, he's sitting there.
So we're gonna leave the best for last.
Actually, before we continue, I'm actually stewing about something else that I saw this morning. It's comedy related and actually in the topic. So before Vanner goes, when it is my turn, I first need to get a little rant off my chest, and then I'll actually answer Rowan. But I just want to make clear that the rant I start off with is not actually aimed at Rowan. It's just something I need to. It's been pissing me off.
Okay, that's fair.
That's fair.
Use your cigarette to light another cigarette, and we'll get back to you.
I might use this desk to light
Rowan, by the way, Rowan, sorry man. Is it possible for you to lower the camera so we can see more of you?
Or just
sure.
maybe just sit up straight.
Are you sure you want to do that?
There we go. Yeah, that's
There we go. Is that
fantastic.
better?
Venner, go.
You see me
Okay,
flexing.
cool. So first thing, Joe, you said that you wanted to stay relative. You meant relevant.
Relevant, sorry.
Right,
yes.
because it's cool that you want to be my cousin and shit, you know, and I'm totally down for that. Like my cousin from another country, because that way I can get a visa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, because
We've discussed it. You're already getting the visa. It's fine.
So anyway, so Rowan, so a couple of things, you know. So you kind of said that the comedy cannot exist in this void, right? But in reality, this isn't.
It does.
I mean, this, and I would argue that this isn't a void, right? Because most of these streams that Joe does, right, and some of his other shows, arguably get more viewership than most have performed to in a room. You know, most comedy rooms are maybe 50, 60 people, you know. I mean, I don't think comedy in Cape Town grew that much while, you know, I wasn't doing the circuit anymore, you know. So your average room size was, if you had 40 paying people for a night, you know, that was already pretty decent. You know, anything from 60 to 100 was a banging gig, you know.
Yeah. That's a great night.
Yeah, that's a great night, and especially if you know if you're taking like 40, 50 bucks at the door, you know, and you may be getting a little slice of off the bar tab, right? So just in terms of viewership, people viewing something, right? These streams that Joe does, which is arguably not maybe directly stand-up comedy, but it is still arguably Joe as a brand, because Joe is arguably he's playing the comedy game as a professional, not as an amateur, you know. So is he maybe
a foundation?
But you know, and
he's an
you know, the
institution.
argument and the argument whether Joe is recognized as a professional or whether he's playing as a professional are two different things, right? So whether he's seen by his peers or other people as a pro, that's a different argument, you know, and that is completely subjective. Yeah, you know. So, but Joe is playing the game professionally, you know. So he's hustling, you know, and he's doing this thing, and the viewership is arguably there to support that. There is a good viewership, right? So even in terms of the basic Cape Town comedy circuit, I personally think it outperforms that, you know, on average, almost day after day, week after week, you know. So you have to recognize that. Yeah, and kudos to you, Joe. I mean,
but this isn't like a stand-up comedy show. This is just like guys talking. You know what I mean? It's like a podcast.
Yeah, it's like a podcast. But now somebody like Joe Rogan, who is a stand-up comedian, right? And I'm not saying Joe is, you know, going to be Joe Rogan or is trying to be. No,
he doesn't have that kind of discipline. What are you talking about?
No, Joe hasn't done. No, Joe
he also doesn't have the physique.
Joe hasn't done any form of Joe hasn't done any form of dimethyltryptamine, so he's not even close to being Joe.
It started out so sweet.
So until you walk through that portal, my friend, unfortunately, you can't be said Rogan experience. So anyway, point being is right that one would say Joe Rogan is still an active comedian, and he is a comic, and he does travel and he performs, right? And he's doing his thing in the same way Joe's arguably doing his thing. Now, it is not the same platform. We recognize that. we're not oblivious to that, right? And you can obviously not feed off the room, as you said. I'll give you that. There's that energy that you get from an audience, which you just don't get with an online experience. It's just impossible. You have to imagine a crowd, which is you have to be unbelievably narcissistic to just have this
it's such a selfish thing, dude. It's such a selfish thing. I texted Pete about this. Literally, he asked me to he sent me something about no matter what's going on in your life, it's funny. It's funny. I know it's funny. It doesn't really matter. And I said, yeah, we all got the news that the world was ending, and some people went, you know what I should do? I should put on a show.
Yeah.
It's incredibly selfish, dude. That's the actions of somebody who's not well.
Look, you have two choices. Either you take to the streets with the AK-47 and a petrol bomb, or you put on a show. Somewhere in between. Or maybe
we
you're
blend
both.
Those two. We make a reality show.
Maybe you're both. Maybe during the day you're planning to overthrow the government, and at night you're do stand-up shows online. Who knows?
Yeah.
I agree with Rowan. You can combine the two. You can just name it a comedy of terrors, and then you've got both of them together.
You got the two more.
Yeah,
you can call it counter culture comedy, but spell it with 3 Ks.
Yeah. So look, so I would say yes.
Whatever.
Comedy cannot exist in a void, but this isn't a void. It isn't stand-up as we know it. But it is a different version of stand-up. There are jokes being thrown. This is practicing. It's just kind of just ad-libbing. This is comedic practice. Even though there's 4 of us, and we do get input from people online. They ask us questions. So there is things that you kind of have to just speak off the cuff. So it's not rehearsed.
Yeah.
So like you say,
having a
that's
conversation.
your style. So for you, your style of comedy, like you say, you don't really have a set. You have 1 or 2 jokes that you rely on. This is arguably as close as you also can get to a stand-up show. It's like a constant interaction. Maybe it's just a different view, and I'll acknowledge that. And in terms of, Pete spoke, there was the considerations of maybe people stealing your material, if you do jokes online. But I think we're all, for the most part, protected by copyright violations. If you put it from the outright, this material or this following stuff is mine, if any copy of it would be in violation of this, and you can pursue it legally.
Yeah, but that's if you find out about it. That's if you find out that.
Of course, but on the other side, there's no such thing as bad publication. There's no such thing as bad press. So if somebody takes your stuff and makes you more popular than you could have done because they're a better marketer than you, that's good. I don't see that as a bad thing. You can then decide, whether it's up to you, whether you want to go and now pursue some kind of a legal action against them because they made you, quite famous.
That sounds too strenuous.
So I don't believe in this thing as there's no such thing as bad press. So I firmly believe in that thing. So and I think like Joe said earlier, these guys are making connections, and this is really it's about business, right? You're making connections that leads to other connections that at some point in time leads to you doing business with someone. For me, stand-up has never been a business or a money-making thing. My business is something completely different to what comedy was, but that also relies very much on business connections in the same way that Joe is, like I said, he's taking this as a pro. And for me, on the other side, this is sort of I'm just having fun chatting to the guys.
Yeah, this is the only reason I did it is because it's just I successfully trolled my way onto the show, I guess.
Mission accomplished.
Well, this is a message to anybody in the chat. Be interesting. And then,
Everybody is
we
welcome.
watch-
No. What you had to say is, have some self-respect, and any working man. I'll take that shit. Do you want to take some motherfucker? I'll take the shit outside. I'll punch your fucking. So, I think obviously, we kind of knew you were taking a bit of the piss, but I think it is an important thing to address, and I think you probably realize is that you ultimately kind of agree with us. It's just this isn't real stand-up. It's not trying to be.
and I'm just a purist, man. Like,
Yeah, and you.
I fall in love with it. So,
And we tend to have some self-respect, and we're just gonna grill you tonight. Once we're done here, we're just gonna take the piss out of you for a few hours. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, that's what hanging out with comics is. It's usually just everybody just shooting the shit at each other.
All right, wait. There are okay. So I understand that Rowan is a purist, and I like to think that I am too. Just because I do what I do doesn't mean I'm a purist. I think my article on cancel culture proves that I'm a purist, and if you haven't read it, it's in the link in the description below. Go check it out. Yes, I'm doing that because that's what a professional does, Rowan. That's what a professional does, dude. I have to punch myself all the time. I have to work hard and get on that stage every night. I have to write my material. And you know what? If someone takes my material without my permission and puts it out on social media, number one, what Venner just said is absolutely correct. That means that someone appreciated what I said. And if I'm going to get bent out of shape and be like, oh, but it's my joke and now I can't, no, someone's going to take it. You know what? Your job as a comedian is to remain funny. And if you can't come up with new material and all that stuff, then you're not a true comedian. So get over yourself. Man the fuck up. And if you're a purist at stand-up comedy, you would believe in that stuff. And if you're a purist in stand-up comedy, you want to do whatever you can to make sure that stand-up comedy stays alive. It's the reason why I do this channel. It's the reason why I support guys like Mario and all those other guys that are doing the online thing, because they're keeping stand-up comedy alive. And if you can't see that, that's also a problem.
Joe is on fire.
Yeah, Joe's mad. I mean, you're keeping it alive, but like it's on a respirator. Like what kind of life is it? Might as well just.
So would you prefer it to die completely?
I mean, I would prefer to just see it be done on street corners. Like, dudes, just like, to me, for me to get by, I'll run you bits by people in the elevator. I'll just be like, I'll try.
I have nothing against that.
I have nothing against that. You can't punch somebody through the internet. Otherwise, Joe would be punching your fucking lights out. You'd be like, come here.
I have nothing against you doing it in an elevator. I even made jokes the other night on Mario's stream saying that as soon as lockdown's done, I'm gonna go to like all the queues at Canal Walk and start performing stand-up comedy. That's fine. But guess what, dude? We're in a lockdown.
There's nothing stopping you from doing that now.
No, we're in a lockdown. Actually, there is something stopping me from doing it now. I can't.
Dude, you can go to the flea market. You can go to the flea market with a Bluetooth speaker. Like, the flea market's open.
Yeah, but there's a difference between. Don't you think that? Let's actually take that angle. If we go busking, right? It's the same as doing it online because no one's really going to stop for 5, 10, half an hour.
No, but you can draw them in for a good 4 or 5 minutes, dude. You can draw them in.
Okay, so why aren't you doing that if you're a purist?
Oh, because I don't have a Bluetooth speaker, and
I don't have a Bluetooth speaker either.
But he's got a 2,000 rand mic connection.
So there's a financial aspect to that. Okay, let's both agree that we can argue about doing this and doing that, but this is why I say for you to say, and I think what triggered me here is when you said that we're in a crisis and all of a sudden people were like, I'm gonna do a show. Well, you know what? I'm gonna say this outright. I don't agree with some of the political views that my fellow comedians have. I don't agree with some of the things they've been spewing either. All right, I'm not gonna mention names, but what I will say is that if a comedian decides, you know what? Let's take Rob Van Vuuren, for example. He's an actor, full-time actor. Nothing now. Stand-up comedian, nothing now. If he decides to do an online show so that he can put money, so that he can put bread on the table for his child and his family, I say fuck you for saying that he's selfish. Of course he's fucking selfish and that he should have the right to do that. To say that someone is selfish because he wants to
he's
put
an
money on
already
his table.
successful comedian. He's not doing open mic shows.
He is.
Sell tickets online. But he can sell tickets online. He's Rob Van Buren. You know what I mean? He can make money from it.
And you could
More
too.
power to those people. No ways, dude.
You
Look,
could.
I'll
It's
be
too much
honest.
You don't
chugging.
understand the power of online. You don't
Never.
understand the power of online.
Dude, let's call a spade, right? There are many of these performers that relied on the Cape Town comedy circuit for a steady stream of disposable cash income, right? I call a spade, right?
It's devastating for everyone.
It was, even for the bigger guys, right? Because that 1,000 rand a night headliner act, that 800 rand a night like headliner act, that's just money for jam, man. And it was busy. And you know what? There wasn't always acting work. There wasn't always so that as shitty as the circuit was, it still put the food on a lot of people's table. And I will acknowledge this. I'll say because I used to run a lot of gigs, back in the day, and it was awesome when we had full nights and everyone got paid the proper. I mean, there were nights when we paid headliner acts 1,400 rand a night for 30 minutes.
A good night.
That was good. Mid-range guys got like 700 rand a night. Open mics got like.
These are also like people. Your headliners are like they're already people who have their fan base and they're just converting it to their online fan base. That's fine.
Yeah.
They're you know what I mean? Like they know the reception is going to be good.
My point is that they very much relied financially, and on very much the same circuit that Joni. So they're all in the same boat. They are all now. This thing has been the great equalizer. It's a great equalizer.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's fair. Everybody's just as important online.
Let's go to Mikhail because damn, Mikhail, you're on.
Yeah, he's almost smoked his whole pack there.
Yeah. Like I said, the first rant, Rowan, what you've said is not aimed at you. I'll get to a more peaceful middle ground conversation. So I first want to get not on my soapbox. I've pulled out a fucking war chest for this one. Well, we've been discussing online performances and the various views on it, and what I heard today really upset me. I don't want to name any names with regards to the person that's been targeted by this, because I don't want another elitist douchebag so-called comedian to attack him any further. But it came across today that stand-up comedians that are busy reinventing themselves as content creators, even if it's only for a short time period until the pandemic passes or whatnot. It's come to my attention that these content creators are being basically insulted by comedians, being told that they're not good enough to do stand-up comedy. They're not good enough to be content creators. They're not funny enough to be stand-up comedians, and they're not funny enough to be content creators. And they don't have enough pull to get apparently really funny people onto their channels. Now, the problem I have with that is, firstly, these people like Joe, people like Storm, people like Mario are at least putting in an effort. They're trying to keep themselves busy, trying to keep other comedians busy, and trying to have some fun along the way. So to those comedians or so-called comedians, and if you call yourself a comedian but you still work an 8 to 5 at fucking True Words, calm the fuck down and sit down.
That's true.
Who are you? Who the fuck are you to determine whether another comedian is funny enough to firstly be a comedian and secondly to be a content creator? You do not have that authority. When I last checked, George Carlin didn't die and make you comedy god. So for the comedians that are going out and spouting that people like Joe, people like Storm, people like Mario are not qualified enough to do what they are doing, either put on your fucking big boy pants and put on a channel and prove that you are better, or sit home and shut up.
I really want to know who said that.
I'm curious,
Love it, dude.
but I don't want to.
It's a safe space, Macau.
Dive into the muck. Is it?
Secondly,
Continue.
Secondly, if these comedians' opinions are so strong about who is worthy and who is not worthy of an art, firstly, an art is open to anyone that's allowed to try it. And we as comedians, we as comedians are supposed to try and enrich and strengthen one another. Yes, if a comedian has a bad set, constructive criticism, help him where you can and whatnot. Obviously, we have differing opinions about advice, but we're supposed to be building up one another, not breaking each other down. You are not growing your ego. You are not increasing your career projections from, I don't know, performing once a month to twice a month because now you're elite, apparently. You're not helping the fucking situation. Stand-up comedy in Cape Town has enough good comedians, but unfortunately it does not have enough good people. And I'm saying that out straight. And if you have a problem with these creators, if you have a problem with what I'm saying, then either appear on either of the channels and debate it and put down your groundwork. And if you feel you're still too elite to it, then at least challenge them to prove that you are funnier. Because this is total and utter bullshit. Whether you agree with what they do or not, that's up to you. You're free to have opinion, but you have no fucking right to play God in stand-up comedy and determine who's good enough and who isn't.
Yeah, I mean, I believe everybody should try comedy.
And I'm going to take it a step further. If you really think you're that good and you want to challenge someone, I'll make it life easier. You can challenge me and I'll give you a fucking fair advantage. I won't even prep for
it. Speaking of, me and Mikhail are roasting each other Monday. I'm a professional too.
On that note, I actually want to give Rowan a big up.
Yes, absolutely.
He went, awesome, let's do this. Yes. I have a lot more respect for him because he voices his opinion in a good manner. He's up for a fun time. He's up for a game. He's not cruising around on social media like some comedic predator and insulting comedians who he doesn't deem to be worthy.
Oh, look at him.
No, I just joined them on a live chat. That's what I do.
Exactly. So if these comedians that have a bloody problem with other comedians, once again, you don't have that authority, and I don't think you are worthy of having that authority if it ever bloody existed. You think other comedians are beneath you because you don't think they're funny? Here's a little newsflash for you. Your behavior makes you beneath me.
And he doesn't even do stand-up, folks.
But they don't. But yeah, but look, I'm gonna call a spade, right? I think most of these people that you're speaking to arguably are not gonna care. They're not gonna give a shit, And you know what? So be it. They don't necessarily know what is in the pipeline, what we're working on, what we've got planned, because this is just the start of something, and this is why you do these things. These shows evolve into other things that become something better, And this is the thing, is these things are a process. Yeah, it's like I've triggered you. It's like, I got some shit to say. So,
that pizza's kicking in.
My point is my point is this, right? It is difficult to put on a show when you don't have budget. And let's face it, very few people have money these days, especially to kind of spend on productions that is arguably going to get you zero return. And if you are doing that and you're getting zero return, if you are spending money to produce these shows, right, and you're not really getting something for the return of it, and if you have some to invest, great. But if you don't, let it just be an organic growth. It's not the time to be spending unnecessarily. So spend on the critical things. Good drive.
No, the thing.
Yes. That's the only.
No, the reason I had to first stand on my war chest is I don't care if it's aimed at me. I really don't. I think I've made it more apparent more than once what so-called comedians think of me, I personally don't give a shit. I have a good night's rest and I continue with life. It upset me because firstly, these people that have been targeted, especially now comedians are doing content, people like Joe, people like Mario and Storm, these are actually very good people. These are good people that comedy needs. I think, yes, we can always do better, but comedy in general, we've been spoiled with some really good comedians or comedians that have shown potential, comedians that have shown growth. But I felt upset because these are good people in comedy that are being targeted by other comedians that have a so-called Napoleon complex.
Well,
and
let's face
that's the
it, dude,
problem I have.
Kind of rough, man. That's kind of
Dude, let's face
bullshit.
it, dude. Most of the people that do comedy are some sort of like level of delusional. You know what I mean? Like they, like on some level, you're delusional and think that like, yeah, statistically this will work out for me. It doesn't. It really doesn't. But I'm gonna put all my eggs in this basket and fucking go with it.
But now to get to the
there's that lovely optimism.
All right, can I
but now to get to the
sorry, guys, I do have a show after this one, so I cannot go over time too much. I think I can push it an extra
how much
5
time
to
we got?
10 minutes, but that's it max. I'm
That's fine.
interviewing Saranga's brother at 8:30, so Mikhail, make it quick, and then we'll finish.
To get to what Rowan said and the reason why we're here. Firstly, he's obviously very, very much entitled to his opinion. Whether you feel from his point of view he's being a purist, some of us might possibly view it as a bit nihilistic, but that's fine. We are entitled to our opinions, and no, but for example, how we viewed and how you viewed is two completely different things, and that's absolutely fine. At least we are able to discuss it.
Yeah, some people are like, yeah, no, the world will go back to normal, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it won't. I feel like it won't. You know.
But I think if all of us tonight together can find some form of middle ground, I think it would be a victory of some sort. I agree from both sides. On the first side, obviously doing stand-up comedy online is very much not the same. It's a lot more difficult to gauge whether the audience is really enjoying what you're doing. We don't have that ability to feed off the audience. We don't have that ability to feed off hecklers. We don't know if we have to pick up. But we don't have the opportunity to really pick up a room. For example, if a comedian had a bad night before you, sometimes you have to try and pick up the crowd to get them to where you need them to be. And obviously that's also very difficult to gauge online from just purely the comment section and emojis and whatnot. So I do definitely agree that it's not ideal. And it does make it a lot more difficult. But I think what stand-up comedians, whether they're hobbyists or purists or do it for full-time as their main income, I think during this pandemic and this lockdown, what we are doing, people like Joe and Mario and Storm, with having comedians on their show, whether they're doing a roast battle or whether they're doing just a simple stand-up comedy set, I think you need to look at the personal gains you get from it rather than the professional ones. And what I mean by this is it's an opportunity to still interact with people. It's an opportunity to still practice new material. And I think the biggest personal gain is it's an opportunity to meet comedians you might have not possibly met as soon as you've done through this platform. I think those personal gains are very, very valuable, and they still mean something. Yes, professional gains, Ron, what you said, it is very difficult to determine whether you performing online on Instagram Live is actually going to get you more gigs or get you sponsorship deals or get you recognition on other platforms. The chances aren't impossible, but they are improbable. But there's still an opportunity, might be. So I will say I do agree there, but I think we should all acknowledge that there is definitely a personal benefit through it, whether it's making a new friend through comedy, and I still think that's very valuable. I still think meeting someone through these platforms that you can have a good time with is valuable. And being able to practice our material to a semi-active audience is still better than going through our material at home to a non-active or non-existent audience as well. And as we said last week,
it's a supervised rehearsal. That's basically what it is.
But it's still a better rehearsal than you at home doing in front of a mirror or recording yourself and then watching it back on your own. It's still a bit better. And I don't think any of us are in disagreement. I think we're all looking forward to, hopefully, at some stage, that we can return to the stage and perform with fellow comedians on a stage. I don't think any of us wants to tell jokes on YouTube or Instagram Live permanently. I don't think any of us went in with the intent of doing it so. But it keeps us busy. It gives us an opportunity to meet new people, and it gives us an opportunity to have fun. And let's be honest, I think many of us do stand-up comedy because we have fun while doing it.
Yeah, that's true. Like I used to do it like twice a week minimum, and then like I miss R.I.P. Nomad. I want to put that out there. Club closed down. R.I.P. dude. That place was a comedy dojo. The crowds didn't like it. You know, they were just there for the food. You had to work for your laughs.
I love that place.
Dude,
Fuck no. Fuck
you
no.
go up 4 times a week. Like, what else do you need?
Yeah,
really?
So, it's. I think if we can still walk away with personal gains, I think there's still value in what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And I think that is, from a comedy perspective, I think that's the wealth you should actually measure.
Yeah, but maybe do more of this stuff. Maybe do more podcasty, like talking to people, getting to know. Like Mario's show is cool because he gets to know people, finds out what they've been up to during the lockdown.
That's great.
You know,
that works.
But just like going, okay, and now we're going to do comedy. Your first act is, hold on, let me find them in the list here quickly. Where are they in the chat?
Fuck, fair enough. Let's cut. It's not innovative. Fair enough.
Yeah. So that's so from a professional point of view.
It's going to exist. Even if the world goes back to normal, it's going to carry on to exist. That's just like, for me personally, it's not for me. And if you hate me for it, sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
I think your professional opinion with regards to comedy from a professional point of view, I think many of them are valid, and it's a bit difficult to sometimes find a compromise on that. But I think if you can leave tonight at least agreeing that there's still a personal wealth to be gained from what we are doing now, then sure. I think that's still a win.
In some ways, sure, yeah. But like I said earlier, a lot of those relationships are just like, hey, we follow each other now. That's sick.
All right, just to add to Mikhail quickly. All right, so I'm going to say my stuff and it'll be quick, and then Peter, Venner, if you want to add, you can. All right. So I agree that the situation right now is not ideal. I agree with you 100%. Doing stand-up comedy in your room to a camera, it's flippin' weird. It is. I've tried. It's weird. So I haven't done a live show yet. Because I'm trying to figure out how to mash the two of online streaming and stand-up comedy as opposed to going full-on stand-up comedy. So I agree with that. There's just two things, or one thing that I think for me was a bit upsetting. And I'm going to be honest with you, Rowan, I was upset that you said it when you said have some self-respect. For me, that was, and whether you were trolling or not.
Dude. It's because Obakang got like visibly angry, and then I was like, "Fuck this! I'm just gonna." That's all it was.
Okay, so maybe it was a misinterpretation on my side, but I also understand why he got so angry, because you say have some self-respect, but some of us have worked really, really, really hard to get to where we are now, and much like you, who just said, you know, you were doing stand-up comedy 2 times a week and stuff, it was ripped away from you. You know, I was making a business out of stand-up comedy, and that was ripped away from me. I had to shut my business down because of the current situation we're in. Yeah, so for you to say, have some self-respect, guys, and I know, okay, fine, you meant it as a jab to Obakang, but still,
it was just a joke.
It's just a joke, but still, I'm just trying to explain where my frustration comes in. Because I think I need to say this, because there are some comedians that work really, really hard at what they do. I work really, really hard to do the shows I do right now on these live streams. So for me, it's like when you say something like that, I immediately go to like, oh, dude, like, who are you to even say that? Like, it's actually very insulting. Whether you meant it or not, and whether it was a joke or not, I'm letting you know it was very insulting to me. Now, I have a right to feel that way. That's the first thing. Second thing is, when you say, I don't know if the normal is going to come back, probably not. You're right. But you know what? I would rather be a comedian that worked throughout this lockdown to again grow my following, make people more aware, so that in the new normal, whatever that is, whether there's stages or there's no stages, whether there's something, I can find opportunity with the people that I've connected with in that new normal, rather than having to start from the very beginning and adjust to that new normal. We're all learning, is what I think Peter said at the beginning. Right now, it's all experimental. And I understand, and I heard you now when you said, look, it's not for me, it's not what I want to do. But dude, that's entirely your prerogative. I have no problem with that. And I think Mikhail had a point if we can get to some kind of middle ground. So I propose this. If you want to sit there and do nothing and not be a part of this, or do it however you want to do it, whatever it is you want to do, that's fine. But just be careful next time you say something like, have some self-respect. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I'll tell that to my dad, dude. Like, I'll see his pants be a little saggy. I'll be like, have some self-respect. Like, Jesus Christ.
Get your shit together, Dad.
All right, we have 5 minutes. Let me also say, I have no, Rowan. I don't hate you, buddy. I want you.
No,
I actually
dude,
want
you're the
you.
first person. You were the first person who gave me stage time, to be honest. Like, it was for a comedy competition, so I realized now that I was just cannon fodder. You know, I was just somebody for the meat grinder, so that the actual comedians can go through. That's fine, but
But here's the thing.
But yeah.
I don't hate you, dude. I love you, and I wish I would see you more on these live streams. And let me put it out here in public. You're welcome to come back on this stream anytime, and just message me and say, hey, Joe, I have some things on my chest I want to talk about. Fuck, dude, I'll have you on. I have nothing against you.
Talk to us about that mic setup. Talk to us about that mic setup when you come back next time, dude. I'm curious about how
Does anybody have a mic stand though? Because this is
I do.
tiresome. You know what I mean?
I do.
Can you beatbox with that shit? We should get Lunga over there to beatbox for us.
I don't have the lips for that.
Look, let me throw this one last thing in here. Just final thought from me. It's like I said, reality is changing, whether we like it or not. It is up to comedians. I'm choosing that word carefully. Comedians. It's up to us to find where the funny is and where it can exist. We've been presented with a new medium. It's our job to find where if funny can exist here and in what way. So yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, like I said, I made a sketch. Like I participated in some way.
Good.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's the purest thing, dude. I just fell in love with the idea of like people looking at me. I'm important for a change.
Look, I think we can all agree with you that the
nothing.
current situation with no live audience, it sucks. I mean, we've spoken about this on our channel, on this show, that it sucks not having an audience anymore. But we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, but this kind of thing is fine because again, it's like just a podcast.
All right.
Let's come back, man.
I'll give an extra 5 minutes, so we'll have a total of 8 minutes. So, does anybody very quickly have any last things to say?
Yeah, who wants to run their bits?
No. I just want to say, I think Ron, kudos for coming on and kind of positioning yourself and willing to kind of have this discussion. You can have your opinion and be wrong. That's all cool.
Yeah.
And be wrong.
I'm okay with being wrong. But...
that's right. I mean, there is a time in your life when you're right, and there's a time in your life when you're wrong. In this particular situation, I would say you're wrong.
Just.
No, sometimes you just got to be truthful, and sometimes you just got to be, you just got to be real, So, I say, like, look at the possibilities, look at the connections that people are possibly making, and how that translates to business at the end of the day, right? I mean, you just said it yourself. These comedy competitions, what are they? They're nothing more than a clever marketing strategy to get people to get feet through the door, to get paid. It's that simple, because there's a bit of competition, headlining act, and they know it's going to be a banger kind of finesse. So I think we should kind of have that as a discussion at some point in time, how comedy competitions, are they really, good, or are they just kind of like a way to hustle people through the door? I
can see Joe swing already, dude.
I'll agree with him. Absolutely. There's no
I-
such
look,
thing
I
as a real stand-up comedy competition, except for I did try to make mine legitimate by helping and giving opportunity, radio, newspaper exposure. I contacted comedians that also like organized and said, "Hey, this guy won my competition. Have him on your show." So I did try and definitely make it rewarding for the person
That's a
that
good
won.
model for future competitions where there's an actual career benefit, something tangible.
Yeah,
But
I made sure of
anyway,
that. Yeah.
we can all
Yeah,
speculate. We can all.
Yeah. So I mean that whole thing I definitely think we should leave that for like a funny. You should say that discussion. I think that
Okay,
would
yeah,
be
we can.
awesome.
We can. Absolutely. Rowan is welcome to come back for that one because he's done that roast battle.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah, but
so
that's
I-
like legit competition, dude.
I
It's like
just-
it's 100%
wanna
real,
make sure-
guys. Trust.
That's the proper stuff.
You see,
I just-
you
No,
looked
no,
and
we
sounded like
outsource
Donald
judges.
Trump there.
I-
Like,
Yeah.
this is 100% real.
Yeah, I was trying to do his hypnotism tricks. You know, he does that magic wand hand waving shit.
So, like I said, I think this whole thing has been a great equalizer. Comedy, fed a lot of people. It's now gone. Everyone's hurting. I think kudos to Joe and everyone else that is at least trying. I think we have to respect that. I don't care how good some of these comics are. I don't care how a lot of them are taking strain just like everyone else. So at the end of the day, you're just a human being. Your shit stinks just as maybe even worse than mine does. I eat clean. I'm clean. Look at me. I'm
Joe
healthy.
and I are on
guy.
the same
Look
diet.
at this guy. Oh my god.
So, but for the rest of it, I think this elitist attitude, like Mikhail says, Mikhail's obviously just far more.
Oh yeah,
vocal
he's
about it.
above comedy,
Yeah.
but he kind of wants to stay in the loop.
No, but no, look,
It's a good character. I like it.
Look at the end of the day, most of these guys,
Leave it for the roast, guys. Monday.
most of these elitist guys are ultimately decent, nice human beings. I think a lot of them just, are suffering. They've got this elitist kind of attitude. I don't know why. I don't know why it came from, but they're not the only ones who suffer from it. Many other celebrities deal with this exact same thing.
Yeah.
They feel that they're above the crowd. They're above the people that got them in the first place. So screw them, fuck them.
Mikhail, is there anything you want to say?
Go.
No. I do apologize. The rant went a bit off tangent.
No, that's all right. It was actually relevant.
earlier.
It was relevant.
No, it was. I just, like I said, and Rowan, it's not that I'm above stand-up comedy. I think I have to do the same amount of grind if I want to get gigs, and then I have to do the same amount of effort to write material and try my best to do as good as I can and do as well as I can. I just got upset about this morning because I don't think it's fair that other comedians that have garnered a little bit of success use it
And
to bring down other comedians. I don't think
just to be
that's
clear,
fair.
sorry.
I don't think it's appropriate.
Just to be clear, it wasn't Rowan that said anything, right? Because
Yeah,
No,
please.
Ron. I made it very, very
Don't
clear at the
tweet
beginning.
this that this guy hates comedians.
Yeah.
No. I
This
made
fat
it very
lesbian
clear.
hates comedians. What a surprise.
No. I made it very clear at the beginning that the rant in the beginning wasn't aimed at Rowan. Rowan has his opinion with regards to online comedy shows, but he's not guilty of telling comedians they're not good enough to do it, or they're not funny enough to do it. So that's why I very clearly, more than once, tried to make clear that it's not aimed at Rowan, because he's not guilty of what these other people are guilty of. They are literally berating comedians and entertainers and content providers in our community that they don't deem are good enough. And I think it's unhealthy, and I stand by what I said. I think stand-up comedy in Cape Town definitely needs more good people than it does good comedians. And as long as someone that I know who's not only a good comedian but is a good person is being lambasted for trying something, I'm going to get on my war chest and get upset about it, because I think it's extremely fucking unfair.
all right. I'm going to
Hi.
give everyone
Somber
60
note.
seconds to end off. Well, Venner and Mikhail kind of already have. Peter, people are asking to maybe give a little bit more of your opinion, and then Rowan, you can actually end off the show. But before I do, maybe Rowan, you might want to address this when it's your turn. S.A. Malcontent, and I don't know who that is, but thank you for tuning in, and please subscribe to my channel if you're new, says, cancel Rowan. He hates comedians.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do it.
shit, that's already viral? That's already viral? Oh my god.
All right, Peter,
My phone is blowing.
final thoughts.
I see how getting
Yeah.
cancelled worked out for Joe. I'm trying to get on that money train. You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit. Yeah. No, my opinion is such, man. Like, I'll reiterate. I think that where comedy can live, it should live, and we should be innovative enough to kind of roll with the circumstance. There's a pandemic. We just gone through a pandemic. No one is being entertained at the moment, and we are lucky enough to be in an age where we've got this thing called the internet, and we can actually communicate with thousands of people without wearing pants, and nobody gets sued. So,
Dude,
if
you stand up right now and your dick's out, dude, like that's where we end the show.
I
Not wearing
will not
pants.
do that. I will not do that to Joe. But the thing is, if you can find some sort of success on there, you should do it. There's a thing. I understand purism of stand-up comedy, but at the end of the day, you're a comedian.
Yeah.
What's bolstering the stand-up?
We all was comedians.
With what is. So, a former comedian who's now a streamer who's hilarious on a live chat. Why not? I think my opinion is like, if it's there and the funny can exist on it, someone should be trying it. And I don't knock anyone for trying.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sure.
Rowan, final
Pretty
thoughts.
sad that you didn't
Pretty
try there, Pete.
Hey,
I mean, it could have made that a little funnier.
Well,
I'm kidding. Yeah, I don't know. This was fun. Thanks for having me. Maybe follow me on. Maybe don't follow me. Yeah, I don't give a shit. Yeah, whatever. If you find me, you do. If you don't, that's cool. Okay.
join him with his
So,
live
yeah.
stream.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Rowan, I do want to say thank you very much for being willing to come onto the show. And you know what? I do respect you even more now because you came onto the show, gave your opinions, you stuck with your opinions, and maybe we found the common ground, maybe we didn't. But at least we all understand each other a little bit more now, and that's the point of these discussions. So whether or not you agree with Rowan, it doesn't matter. Whether you agree with us, it really doesn't matter. But at least someone who's watching this might be able to learn something, and I hope that's at the end of the day what happens. So to everyone who tuned in, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Grim, get you online then. Laura Frey was here. Fry, sorry, it's Fry. And everybody else, Robin, Donwin, Yanni, Mr. Punisher, and so on and so forth. Thank you all so much. Please please share this video. I'm going to be back on the show with Peter's brother, who's joining me tonight, Sam Sirwanga. We're going to be singing and talking, and yes, I said singing. He's going to do most of the singing, not me. So that will be at 8:30. That will be at 8:30. But once again, Rowan, thank you. Peter, thank you. Venner, thank you. Mikhail, thank you. You'll see us again next week talking about more interesting topics. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is all from us. Have a good night. Stay safe. Be kind to one another.
Bye.
And
Cheers.
see you next time. Hey guys, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and a share. That's how my content gets out there. Also, don't be afraid to comment. I usually do respond to the comments in the comment section below. If you want to support my channel, please go to the link in the description below, support my channel, and you'll be taken to my website, which has all the details. Also, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Also, feel free to check out the links below to my social media accounts. Give me a follow, and I'll see you at the next one.